Let me tell you this, put it this way to you. Tom Sorson, Jim Riley, Joe Zilla, Gary Race, Bernard LaChance, DJ Dave, Perlita Grimont, Jim Hall, Bill Duvall, Doug King, Steve Jones, Perlita Jones, Quinn Wands, the Alamorad, 1961 Oyster Cracker Man, Bid It Back for Blue Boy Boxes, Ellery's, and Roland Knight. And so, Bernard and your team, Red Randy recorded. The fact that you guys throw a temper tantrum over it every time they turn it on is proof enough. That you, Bernard, and Perlita go into the ghetto talking crap is proof enough. And so remember, Bernard and your team, all they have to do, I'm walking, I haven't drove out here, okay, is one, profile my behavior from 9/11 to now. But if they have a profile of my life in Colorado here, Bernard gives them a plethora of information. Then you got accident reports, medical, all that stuff in that area. So your guys' behavior, Bernard, the Negroes and all that, proves enough that you're a supermassive rapist, abuser that jacks people's stuff. Bernard de la Carney and Perlita, Karen Fausto, Country and Western. That alone, Don Wiley, alone is enough information to prove the crimes that you've done, Bernard. And so, Google, Apple, Microsoft, NASA, Lockheed, the military, FBI, CIA can put enough to basically prove, Bernard, that you're never going to learn. Your team, your group is never going to learn, and you're always going to be a supermassive lying rapist abuser. The Until a Man, like I said, Dave and them copying the Mark Twain movie, and then like the Universal Security Man that's following in that footsteps. That you guys are going to always abuse the Disney girls, the SeaWorld people. You know, that's enough profiled information about what you're doing, Bernard, in your lies and your programming. So Eric Schmidt and Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, any of the tech, Oracle, the tech companies, NASA will always know that there's a group of you that always abused. It goes back to Bernard Elton and you and the Carney Circus, stole people's shit and fucked it up. Understand, Bernard, there's a lot to prove what Joe did and his lies. And then those he protects to keep his crappy thing going, and those he doesn't. Those he abuses, Bernard, because you're super massive abusive that comes to that likes to hover in the same area to grift it. Those you're willing to protect, Bernard de la Carney, Lo Freeman, and those you're not. Those you're willing to attack. Like I said, if you wanted it to keep going, Bernard, you would have left shit alone. It proves that you guys abuse my cousins, my friends at the schools, the Beswicks, the Gontiers, the Godfreys, the Hiltons, the Bowmans, the Kennedys, whatever. There's always going to be a head man that runs in Bernard and Perlita. So there's enough plethora of information there for the military and those groups that want to work together, the police officers, firefighters, everybody, NASA, those people who actually want to work to build something, to prove something about you, Bernard and Joe and Harry, Ellery's. Don't ever let you guys touch a spaceship, a plane, anything, LGBT. They have enough to prove your guys' entire hack and your information simply by me walking around and pretty much doing nothing. Okay, that's your genesis, Bernard. You like to make shit hide because you're that faggot and that big of an abuser. Then they can also prove that, you know, that you guys abused Paul, Marino, Aaron and Justin, and Victor. You know, your whole plan, Bernard. So as my group of friends raved and did our thing, the group of you adults pretty much spied and stalked on it. And then you guys come up with your bullshit Eden's Isle Atlantis story to put you guys as supposed Until a Man or Joe or Harry then back into power. That's why you're in a red, Harry and Bernard. Because you're massive rapist, abuser, cowboy, hick. Bullshit. It proves you guys is abusing Starbucks, all the businesses. That's just one business. If I can prove it with one business and one girl, that's enough, Bernard, to prove all of it. And GPS Pastor Robles and the obsession over the blue dress or whatnot, and then he goes to Russia or Israel, or, you know, it proves you guys this whole dichotomy of why you don't evolve, Bernard, because you're massive, abusive pieces of shit in the first place that stole people's stuff. So you can pretend that you won, Bernard and Perlita and Dave and Harry and Joe and your group, however big or small it is. But the simple fact that the group of you, Bernard and Ellery and Perlita, Don, Roble Knight, Red Randy, and you guys throw a temper tantrum is proof enough of what you've done, Bernard. And so, like I said, those companies that are trying to evolve out of you guys' mess have enough information to pretty much prove what not to do. And the way you live your life and your example and those you abuse to prove a point, Bernard, is enough. So, you guys can swap it around and change it all you want, but Harry's a fucking pedophile rapist. So are you, Bernard. And so is Ellery. So is your oyster cracker man, the Roble Knight, and you guys boast of the barnyard rape, the chair rape, the McDonald's, of that of Carl McBride, who else? The Whispering Fag at the Fairmount Cemetery, you know, the Maltese Night Rat, all the things that guy has done. The Team Bed Bugs, Jamaica Street, Pickett Street. So there's enough generational evidence of you people's hive and genesis on who the groups of you abused in those neighborhoods and those schools to build a lot. And those of you who threw a temper tantrum over it, those of you who lied, slept together, all that stuff, didn't know how he forces Negro stuff. That's what Bernard and I'm trying to Negro love, bag love, so that guy can assume a role of children and stuff that aren't his. So you can be the blue, they can be the blue boy or the green or the red. Elton and his 3 Negroes. So you guys will be sitting around for a while, Bernard and your team, in ghetto life, Perlita, and your guys' political, sexual stance. But that's why you stink, Bernard, because of what you did here, LA, Aurora, Detroit, New York, Florida. So if I was the military, knowing the stuff that you guys did on those bases to have your supposed leadership, Bernard, Ellery, and the people you guys abused, and the divorces and all that stuff you guys created, I'd watch out, Bernard, because it was hardly a military win for your success ever. I think they set it up to prove who's the dictating idiots of the world. And you'll have the hardest one to dig out of, Bernard, since you're a piece of shit. Understand, LeChance? When your face shows up and the abuse scar shows up on Heidi, me, Ryan Miller, pairs of 3, all that stuff. You got it all, Bernard. Good luck. You guys won't evolve, Bernard, until you change your funding, change your attitude, change the medical, get that fixed. The Air Force, the Navy, all that stuff that you guys blew up and destroyed, NASA. Man, they got enough man on the group of you for time to come, Bernard. Getting the temper tantrum he throws every time. Taking over my mom's stuff. You just take over my mom's stuff, Bernard, just like you guys took over my dad's stuff. Understand? Rapist and murderer, Bernard. Roble Knight. Pedophile. Rapist boy. East Coast, West Coast, Mid Coast. The Midwest. That's why you guys don't evolve, Bernard. Because this shit doesn't belong to you, dude. It belonged to me, Kim, the Schwartzes probably, Bailey, my 2 cousins, Holly and Amanda, Heather, the Hiltons, the Bowmans, the Kennedys. They got it all on your group there, Bernard, on who you guys run around and assassinate and lie. That makes it even easier when you guys name your gangs and they go, the things not to do with their genesis. Understand? Avoid it. So for the groups to evolve, Bernard, since you want to be the leader of it, you have to teach them the skills to let them know that they're actually better than having to tattoo themselves and do all that carving and nasty stuff, because what you do, Bernard, is a form of lowering self-esteem, beating people down, and that's not what those people need. That's a big message of gangs, other than be mean and tough. That they didn't. It's not that they were looking for something that wasn't provided. And so you that feed into that and take advantage of that, instead of help them realize that they were actually decent people in the first place. Understand, Bernard? Do you really want to run a Holocaust? There are those of you who are trying to, and those who want to get out of it, Bernard. And if you love the smell of your shit and your faggotness, Bernard and Perlita, that much, you're going to have an even harder time getting out with that group of people than those who try to help people out of those positions. Understand, Bernard? So the position of you guys liking to watch people shit in toilets and dumpsters and stuff, Elton, Don, Karen, Country and Western, Bernard, Jim Riley, guess what? You're going to have the hardest time getting out of it because that's all you'll be, Harry and Joe. Those of you who are freaked out of it just by seeing it on those streets. Because that's really the life you guys live. Because guess what? They found out those of you who killed the kids and threw them in the dumpster. Get it, whispering faggots a fair amount, Joe? GPS night, Bernard and Ellery. Don't put your name on something if you ain't really into, basically, take care of your own problems, dude.